right, I'm going to give you a ballpark video with a ballpark idea of my feelings on this thing I'm seeing on TV. This woman, and she's coming on there with this really sweet, like, voice, like she's like really sweet and caring. And oh, I'm a democratic socialist, and I care about everybody, and how all capitalism is evil. And this is my feelings on this, and this is a subject matter that these kids that fucking worship fucking Che Guevara, which was actually a cutthroat killer, you know. But if you've seen them documentaries on Cuba, well, they took control of Cuba, and there were. Oh yeah, they skip out the part where they just murdered people by with grenades or burned them to death with gasoline when they took over Cuba. But I'm not saying anybody would do that here. No. But this is a subject matter that's not entirely easy. But these young, naive kids, one-sided, and I understand feelings on both sides about capitalism. And here's my thing. Capitalism has gotten like the bad reputation because there is a... But yet we have capitalism in this country so people can pay taxes and be able to do things, but yet we have laws in this country about monopolies too, that capitalism is not supposed to be a bad thing. As a matter of fact, you don't want... If somebody wants to have their democratic socialism club and be for the poor, and I have my feelings about the poor too, and I don't want this to be a dragged out video because I care about the poor too, and I have ways that I personally don't worship no daddy on either side, and that I'm supposed to, if somebody is like, oh, I'm going to take over the whole country, be a democratic socialist, and somebody just because they have a sweetie voice, so I'm a democratic socialist, that if you're not on board with something, will come next, you know what I mean? That I have this rule where I always said in workplaces too, I give a shit to a point, but there's some aspects of giving a shit that I don't have to give a shit about, but then there's some I do. And I have a saying where there's a time where you can ask yourself if a rat's ass should be offered or given. If the ass of the rat should be offered or given, and if so, when, where, why, under what circumstances. That's the way I am. But okay, capitalism was supposed to be... That's one thing about democratic socialism or any kind of socialism, and they want to say capitalism is an entire enemy. I don't want anything that's, put it this way, I care about the poor, but I don't want anything where somebody that's poor, okay, or I've been up and down on things, I was able to walk around with a smirk on my face with long hair and have people give me dirty looks. I'm walking in a restaurant, I'm above minimum wage, and everybody from religious, full-blown, conservatives of a certain age, which, hey, he must be selling marijuana. He got money in his pocket. He's walking around with money in his pocket. And then, and I had the side that smokes pot, which I say, if you want legalized pot or whatever, and they take the THC out, the getting high part, and it's actually is doing good for kids with seizures and all that. But then a recreational thing, I have a thing where I don't want a legalized narco communist thing or a narco democracy either, where I'm going to be harassed because, well, that's a thing too. That's what I'm trying to say, where the people that I just told you about are looking at me, oh, I must be selling marijuana because I'm walking. I shouldn't even have a job above minimum wage, which the place I was working for was capitalist, and I'm going to get to what I'm getting at too. Then the side that wants to party, drink, and smoke the marijuana, they're giving me dirty looks because not too far down the street, oh, I don't want to go to their parties and socialize, People come up to you on the street in conversation, do you drink or do you smoke pot? Oh, and I got money in my pocket, and I'm treated like at workplace. People in workplaces too, they want to go out and drink, spend their money on pot. Oh, I don't spend any money on pot, and I want to walk around like I think I'm the people on the pot smoking crowd that want to take total hold of the country. And yeah, if they don't accuse you of being on the religious side that is scrutinizing you, you know, everybody wants to shame somebody into the other side. But anyway, yes, I had money in my pocket, and I was uh, scrutinized for that in some ways. And I was going to a place that's, I don't call it full blown capitalist, but yet a restaurant, which I have. I don't want anything that has the right, that wants to take away your right to say if you and me are poor. Don't fall into the trap where some democratic socialist is going to say, I'm for you, I'm for the poor. But if you're watching, say you are poor and you're for the poor, you don't want to worship any kind of socialism, which is going to take away your right. Say you want to get out of poverty and start a business, right? And what I see as capitalist, and I have respect for the people that hate a type of capitalism where, for example, the place where that gave me the ability for a while, now you work shit jobs on and off. Some were better, some were worse. The work way to get employment, you know what I mean, in permanent for a long time. You should save your fucking money. Don't overspend like I used to do. Got too cocky, you know. But the place I worked for was capitalist, yet there's some of us that want to start our business. But anyway, even though I worked for such a place, I want better treatment of people in workplaces. There's a thing that I hate too about why people are drawn to democratic socialism, and I don't think it's going to solve all the problems because there's some good workplaces out there capitalists try to give to the people. But like the video, the story of your enslavement, you worship one, the sheep worship another. You want another farmer in another pen, another sheep pen. It's just another farm, another human farmer, and another, whether it's full-blown capitalism or full-blown communism. Those are livestock or sheep management approaches or tools, just like highly funded religion is. You know, that wants everything, the advantage of everything their way. They have all the money and the power. And I'm a firm believer. I still laugh over and over it. The late George Carlin said the people that have all the important power, the important land and money, you know, everybody wants obedient workers, strong and smart enough to run their equipment and do the paperwork, but dumb enough to suck up to, or dumb enough to just keep electing the people who don't give a fuck about them. And I believe that even though you got to work for something, if you're lucky, you can get out of minimum wage for a while, which is a capitalist thing. There's this thing that I fucking hate with a passion where you have friends at workplaces, right? You're willing to do your job. Hopefully you get with workplaces, people you get along with. But then there are some of these fuckers out there you work with or can even be jealous of you. One boss and supervisor likes you better than the other. And they think they're God. And I think if you're somebody out there watching this, that you work for some people are good and some people are not as good, right? And you want to do your job, right? You get this threatening innuendo that goes with things, or that I could speak to you or treat you any way I want, or you say anything about it or act any way about it, you're going to be destitute. You know, you'll be just a homeless bum. And what are you going to do? Hit me or do something or threaten me? Yeah, I'll have your ass thrown in jail, and and I'll be on the news. Who's talking about what a psycho you are. You know, that they love some of these people. They love that. And you don't want extreme socialism or extreme capitalism or extreme anything in religion or extreme anti-religion, because everything wants to stick its finger in your face and tell you what you better do. And because I have the daddy, and I have the daddy is all on my side, I worship and bow down to daddy. You want to use the great Nebuchadnezzar is the metaphor, whether you're religious or not. I think each side, they want to be the hero, and if you were even worship a democratic socialist or a diehard capitalist, what they say in the video, the story of your enslavement, which to get either of them to work for a while, gifts and extra privileges are handed to the sheep, the propagating class, the intellectuals, their right-hand people, so to speak. I mean, that's how it's done, whether it's inside of workplaces, somebody is getting, there's gifts, whether it's in politics or religion or anything, gifts are handed down. Even in a fucking street-style class that's involved, where you might have groups of people that get along, or you have full-blown gangs where you have the physically intimidating class, gifts are handed down and privileges are handed down to the main thugs in the intimidating class. I was arguing you can get that in a narco-communist state, or you can get that in a legal non-narco-communist state in a different way. There's like a verbal and a shaming type of thing. And but anyway, you get anything that doesn't have no check on its power, that you want to egg the sheep on to make it a full-blown law of the land. It's no good. You don't want to completely do away with capitalism, but we're supposed to have things that are illegal about capitalism, right? That's monopolies and different things that, were to force other people out of business, that get rid of competition, so to speak, so they can keep the price of anything higher. You know what I mean? And you see these movies about the mafia-style business thing where you don't want to do away with the right to bear arms. It's not just for rednecks or anything like that. I might be looking like I'm sticking up for the capitalists, but there's some people that ain't totally full-blown suit-wearing capitalists, which I'm getting at, that you see it's portrayed in movies, right? There's these mafia, there's the suit-wearing to take over big businesses, right? And say you're capitalist business that ain't necessarily bad just because it's capitalist. We have a thing in this country about, it makes capitalism look bad too, where you got it on certain levels inside here, where suit-wearing people, whether you think they're bad or not, some of them have to have guns or have private security, because you can have a capitalist business, right? You get these bad people out there, it's going to be like a board meeting, a thing like, but inside the room, it's like, okay, here's what we're going to do. An offer you can't refuse. We're going to take over this business. You're going to sign it over to us, or we're going to have our thugs put you in the trunk of the car, gunpoint. You ever see these movies like Scarface or different, all kind of movie. Anyway, our government was supposed to have laws against that, and then there's monopolies, how people will use laws and regulations. Do as I say and not as I do. Not to only, and it's under the guise of regulating a company for safety or whatever, but for somebody somewhere just to do away with competition. Some other company is getting away with murder in that law, you know what I mean? So it's not always capitalism, it's bad. We suppose we have laws against manipulative practices and underhanded practices, price gouging, sneaky ways to get rid of competition, but yet there's people that are out there getting away with the privileged ones that are getting away with it. But you don't want to do away with a capitalism that keeps you and me, or somebody wants to start some kind of business that there's something about standing by your product and caring about the consumer, not taking their money and running and all that, giving somebody a product. People are doing with cars now, doing away with it. You have so many cars being manufactured all over the world, not in this country now. People are using machines and different shit, throwing it together, robots, because they don't want to hire human beings. People want to make a killing. But if you don't want to do, there's a thing about capitalism like that's wants to just pay people as little as possible too, and then just treat everybody else like shit, and then you're expendable, ruin your body, and then you could be replaced. but yet, gifts being handed down to the people that kiss the most ass, and if you point out what's wrong, like in the story of your enslavement video, right? Gifts handed down, they'll attack anybody as a bad person. I don't want to waste too much time on the names people call you, but too much of a socialist thing, like that it has too much control. It's going to do the same fucking thing. And what I worry about is if it gets too much power, my concern is it's another thing, because it's political. Gifts and privileges handed down to the propagating class, the ones that are pushing it, and then everybody else that is a supporter of this democratic socialism, they're lesser on the... Look at fucking North Korea. That's what they're doing. They got real poor sections of North Korea. People they're just chucking away into these prison camps, and all that. And then, and like I saw a journalist that, got to go to North Korea. You're in a train. You're not even allowed to open up the blinds on the window of the train to see the poor sections. They got a real privileged section. They got a real poor section. And if you say anything, your beliefs are controlled, so to speak. You know what I mean? Very controlled and very limited. And then if you get like a full-blown socialism, somebody that's all a nice spoken voice that wants to be your mommy, it'll start out good for a while, but it'll start a little bit at a time that you'll be pressured into something because you won't have no friends. Just like what I say about the expanded. I don't like the marijuana thing. Like I says, you got neighbors that smoke it. I'm not against it, but you give something where it's not just politically. There's a thing where I'm saying that people should be able to out there, whether you're in the streets or out there anywhere. It's the money and power and the control of money and power, but then socially too. I don't want to see anything without any kind of social or intellectual check on its power. I mean, that's how the use of really bad drugs and heroin and meth and everything, and people getting in crowds and getting addicted to that. You get too many people, like entire blocks on this, and you're the only one that ain't. You're either intimidated into it. That's why we have an opioid epidemic going on. That's what they're not nipping in the butt too. You can spend all this shitloads of money on Narcan and all that too, but what people should be educated to is there's a structure of how people, with even freaking marijuana and cigarettes and beer, you gotta watch. Even though like they're legal, it starts out with the peer pressure in the school, and I can't stand highly paid religion, but what I like about some of it is you should have your safe space to get the fuck. It should be religion, or if you get some other kind of secular humanist thing, which I bash some of them, whether it's religion or a pagan religion or any kind of a religion, or even if you're not religious, some kind of ideal that. What I'm trying to say, I don't want to do away with religion, even though I bash it, because you should have a right to have a safe. I hate the word safe space in a way because the kind of people that are using it, but a right to conscientiously object to a thing. Like, say, if you get marijuana, it's getting to be all over the place, and socially you're going to be crowded out because it can be a communist narco democracy, whatever you have it, because there's a thing about whether it's a socialist or whether you have a democracy or republic. Look at other countries that are democracies and republic. On the street, you can have a democracy with the people think the gather of the mob makes the rule. Yeah, the golden rule you can in the streets, that things that you can get beat up for, or that's inside your church that you can be shunned for not believing. The golden rule is whoever gathers the intellectual social mob makes the rules, and even if you don't get beat up, or if you're in some other more civilized place, you just don't have any friends. But yeah, we should guard against, you know, some really not good behavior too. But there's things that we shouldn't do do for each other. You know, respect people for who and what they are, but yet at the same time, don't let any particular group, whatever, whoever you are, no check on the power socially and intellectually either. You know what I mean? You don't want to be prejudiced against anybody either. But anyway, what I'm trying to do, I was getting into the things where with the drugs our governor's trying to combat, you know, opioids and all that. You could spend all the fucking money you want to, or you can, you democratic socialist, claim take whatever money off the rich and put it into it all that you want. But if you don't, if the problem right there is educate people, like say what I do is, hey, some democratic socialists probably won't like me either, or a diehard capitalist wouldn't like me either. I have this thing where that it's like this. It's you need some of this to a point where no matter who you are, which you're not going to let a full-blown, whether it's totally marijuana is my God, tell you how your life is going to be. You're not going to let some diehard, you know, conservative tell you how your life is going to be, or anybody just. You got to look at other countries. Somebody just because hey they have the guns and they got the social standing, they're going to stick their finger in your face and tell you how your life is going to be. But it won't, just because I do this, don't give me the right to be an asshole and do anything that I want or say anything about people either. You got to be fair. You got to give maybe a little bit. You got to give every party a little bit of this. And then you got to give every party, well, okay, I like a little bit of this and I like what this offers, and we all get together and talk. And I actually have a saying too, you know, if you got this far in this video, if there's an aspect that I do this right, but yet you don't like it, but yet if there's something that you still, if you hate that I did this, but yet I find out something that you said that I do like and have respect for, I can say fuck you, right? But then if I find something good, I have a saying where I'll go, okay, unfuck you then. Well, I can go, well, fuck you then, or I can reverse it and say, unfuck you then. Well, unfuck you then. I mean, that's the beauty of freedom, is you may risk getting your ass kicked a little bit, but you know, if somebody hears you out, but somebody should hear you out first. But then there are some people, the minute you suggest one thing, either you can get your ass kicked or you can get thrown in jail, or somebody will deny you the right for employment because of something you think. You try to give everybody the thing, and people want to do what's right, do what they're supposed to, you know. I mean, even though you got places that you work for or capitalists, right? You should do what you're promised to do in a way too, and not harass each other for what they believe. Use the workplace to harass each other, whether it's the supervisors or whether it's the people next to you that maybe smoke more pot than you, or they believe this and you don't, political ways. Everybody, whether it's a capitalist workplace or not, there was a thing that, you know, when you work, it's not just I put in my time worth of paycheck. You should do what you promised. They shouldn't give a fuck about what your beliefs or anything when you do sign on to a job. But there's a thing in the job that everybody should get along, and there should be a chain of command in a workplace too. So somebody asked you asked you to do something, you do it in the chain. But yet, it shouldn't jeopardize safety. It shouldn't be made so difficult that, yeah, you could have some that people that claim to be about safety and say you can do this and you can't do that, but yet to touch stupid ass shit that could be better in the workplace, that could make the place more efficient, make people work gracefully instead of harder, that you know, ruin your body or whatever. You could work gracefully either. But hey, I had that thing where, you know, I worked, there was some things you're bad at, right? But I complained. You get accused of being on cocaine and stuff, the people that smoke the pot and drink the beer. Oh, you must be on cocaine because you can just do, you're good at a particular station at a workplace. Say you're at this spot one day in the workplace, you're, oh yeah, we have things we suck at, right? But then you have something that somebody else happens to hate, and you're put there, and you're real good at it, and you can do it gracefully, not jerk your back because you found a physical and mental trick to it. Oh, all of a sudden you're on cocaine, but then sometimes you're made a fool out of in this kind of thing. We all have things we're good at and all things we're bad at. So, you know, smarter people can see what a person's good at and just, you know. And then there are people at a job who deliberately do something badly so they don't get asked to go in there anymore. You know what I mean? But yeah, I mean, should we really, you know, I mean, it's not just political, it's social, it's out there too. Anything with too much muscle power to a point where it puts too much fear into people that you're going to shut up or else. You know, anything that wants to tell you that what you better do or better not do, or what you say or better not say, because it has a social power and it has the power to, oh, you have your ass kicked or have you shot. You know, there's a kind of thing in full-blown gun control. One more thing before I end this video, that full-blown gun control is supposed to protect you from, yeah, you can have something on the street, elements on the street, these wannabes on the streets that some towns they don't have, they're not full-blown like some of your cities. You could have a gun in a damn city, you know, a legitimate owner, and that won't protect you. Some asshole that wants to harm you in a bad way or take what you got or murder you, their thug buddies, they don't like that. Oh, how dare you know, and come after you. I've seen stories about that. But yet, you know, you're going to take, yeah, all these people in these cities in Chicago, you know what I mean, too. Yeah, a lot of luck, you know, taking, you know, illegal weapons off these people in the damn Chicago. What are you going to do is go search every damn house? I mean, there's just like this, yeah, there's this element, you know, that people want gun control because they're tired of that criminal element. There's people out in the streets that should be having guns that they get them illegally, and they're the ones that, yeah, we're going to be on the street, we're going to sell you these drugs or whatever. And if you're not on with the system, or if you're not buying our shit or our dope or whatever, and you know, we'll have our thugs either rob you or whatever, and so that they can buy our drugs or whatever. And people think gun control is going to take care of that because there was a street element with all these illegal drugs they're selling. Yeah, like the opioids. It's a culture where they got the guns, they got the power. You criticize them or you don't buy any or enough of their shit, you're going to get shot. But gun control ain't going to stop that because how many of them people buy it in the gun stores, you know? But yet you do have some people that are that helping all these people out, though, too. They don't have a criminal record. They got nice houses and they got legit gun permits, too, under that. But, yeah, how do you deal with them? Yeah, you can trace them if you can prove that, you know, you had certain people, respectable people, caught on the news, legit gun permits, clean criminal record, but they're providing, you know, guns and drugs and muscle power to these thugs so that they can enrich themselves. Shit, you had a female DA that, like, what was that Gigi Sullivan, disgraced, you know, she was hanging with junkies and was a functional one herself. And the last thing I heard of her, I think she got caught shoplifting or something. I don't know. But yeah, I can go on. But there's just so much in that. I mean, there's anything that has too much power just because it has the guns ain't no good, and you've got somebody that has too much power because they can take away all the guns. That's not good. But yeah, look at yeah, have complete gun control. How the fuck is that going to solve anything? Look at all these other countries that the police are getting murdered anyway or whatever too. I mean, and the money we were giving other countries to the poor, and look at all these people that were actually getting it instead. You know what I mean? Whether some of them are republics and some are democracies. Look at some of them South American countries, like the fuck is that name of that damn country now? Venezuela, yeah. Like I heard the price of the food is just going up and up. You know what I mean? If you had fucking full blown socialism, guess what? Who's gonna farm and grow all the food? There should be some self reliance. And yeah, oh yeah, one reason to I don't need your total democratic socialism, and I don't need anybody's marijuana like it's a full blown savior. I'm a full blown. I rebel and just say, you know, I'm a big advocate for consuming things that people are. There's a lot of people they don't even know one way or another, or they just don't like it. There's shit out there that people call a weed that you can eat, and I can put a pile of it right down here right now, a big ass pile, and feed a whole bunch of people for a time, weather permitting in the season. Feed a bunch of people with only the price of a few cases of salad dressing. In some of these cities where you've got lots that I can tell you where the shit's growing right away, dandelion. You people think I'm crazy, but I can make the religious nuts out there, that the high-paying religions that say, give me all this money and we're going to give it to all these countries to the poor. You don't see any of them coming down from their fancy airplanes and their fucking fancy cars. I mean, I work for a charity. You may not like me at all, but I can fucking do it right now. Give you a fucking cases of raspberry vinaigrette, maybe some onion garlic powder, give you a whole bunch of dandelions. And for the vegan crowds, I think that's a real good idea. And a couple of other kind of veggies. I could probably be, I could be your fucking military chef unawares, and I'll shred some stuff and tell you it's salad, you know, and say, get me into a cook in your army cook, you know, I mean, and don't tell anybody, right? And have me make your salads. A whole bunch of plantain, dandelion, and purslane, and all. Shred it up real small so it looks like your cafeteria salad that maybe somebody like Sodexo might make, and feed you totally for free, especially if you have small economic crisis, you know, or you could be homeless for a time. And, so there it goes. There's your answer to the poor. I like to see any of you, religious or non-religious stuff, your fucking airplanes and your fancy cars that you take a paycheck right off the top, you know, and religions that say advertise. I think, which one is that? I get both the terms mixed up. Yeah, if you have, they want your fucking be a beneficiary in your will. Yeah, they want you to make them a beneficiary in your fucking will. And if you have oil and gas leases that are capitalist oil companies, oh yeah, we'll take that too, so we can put our religion all over the world that say we're helping the poor, but we're taking our paycheck to buy airplanes and fancy cars and nice houses off the top. Oh, it won't want somebody like you or me in there that maybe may grow a beard and maybe wear the same suit or clothes at the desk, you know, I mean, and drinking from a coffee cup that, you know, maybe you didn't wash right away a couple of times. And, oh yeah, they don't want that, you know, you might actually have an accident, die of an unfortunate accident somewhere, you know what I mean, because the people who are really helping the poor, you want to fucking help the poor, anybody, whether you're a socialist on the campaign money end or you're in the religion end. Hey, why don't you give a good piece of your paycheck and come right over there and like do something, you know what I mean? If I had the money or won the lottery in a big way, somebody coming to me for their campaigns or their religions, I do for the poor? Oh, oh yeah, man, I'll go like, oh, I'll help you, and they're ready to cut. They want you to cut them a big check, which they're going to take their paycheck off the top first. I said, no, you know what? How about tell me what you need, and I'll buy a whole bunch of cases of some kind of food or something. How about shoes to another country? You got fucking bunches of shoes that are sitting in places, and you got places on TV that you want to get that they want to give money. You want you to give them money, or you want to give. We got so damn much shoes that we throw in the fucking garbage and clothes that some people might think you're being an asshole. You would give people, and some of us Americans, we want to sit there in our nice little t-shirts and shorts, act like we're so clean and so domesticated, or our nice church clothes, like we're clean and domesticated. But some of us, once in a while, we like to dress up once in a while, and some of us, maybe we want to wear something with holes in our knees. I work fucking construction places, and the things I do, instead of the over domestic, and that dovetails into instead of the over domesticated, sheep pen, gyms that some of are formidable, but the enforcing and intimidating class got all the steroids and the extra things, but what happened to the people like some of us, instead of worrying so much about every little thing is dangerous, people like me, you can crank your wrist up with a sledgehammer or do knuckle push-ups right on at lunchtime in these construction or landscaping jobs. That's me, and I'm going to advocate that even for girls. So I got an element in a program where even if you were a girl, instead of encouraging victim status, get everybody to get up and want to do something, because whether you want to be religious or not, I believe in the way that we're all genetically corrupt. There was a flaw somewhere, whether you want to believe in a religion or not. Some of us are grown with a birth defect, and some of us, but yet even some of us are athletically superior, but we're all going to get old. Whether you do something or do nothing, shit happens anyway. You might as well just make the most of what you got. If you can walk all the way somewhere instead of having to drive a fucking car everywhere, do it. You know what I mean? Nobody even wants to do that anymore. You know what I mean? I mean, I feel for some people, if you're against that, if it floats your boat to be against the oil industry or whatever, I'm not full blown against it. But yet, I don't hate you, but I'm trying to be fair with both sides over there. I mean, there's things I believe in totally different video to take, which it's a double-edged sword about the fracking and the oil. You're getting earthquakes, you're getting that. But I don't hate anybody either side. I think I have a lot of pros and cons on each side. I'll talk about that later. But I myself, ever since I was young, when I got my first apartment, I rebelled. I said, fuck you, I'm not getting a car. And I lived for a decade, deliberately refused to get a car. And one of my best jobs above minimum wage, I was attacked for it, like I said in the beginning of the year, by the drinking and smoking marijuana crowd and by the religious crowd. Oh, you don't have a car and your life isn't just to reproduce and make kids and all kind of names you were called, because you're walking around with the hair and your both sides didn't like you because you're walking around and just your own self-interest, and you're considered selfish, but you try to be fair with people too. When I walked in a restaurant with a smirk on my face and long hair, I have respect for the server that has to work a shit job, whether they're a female, whether they're a good-looking waitress or a waitress that's not good-looking, or whether it's a dude. Tried to tip a little extra more because I thought that I don't have the. That's one thing I didn't have. I didn't have the I'm king shit. My steak or my hamburger wasn't this treat a person like shit. Matter of fact, if you get my meal wasn't totally right, I won't say nothing. I forgive you. I'll eat it anyway. You can walk up to me and say, "Oh, how was your food?" You know, waitress or a waiter or at even a fast food. How was it? I'll just say fine. And if you skip something, in some cases in a fast food place, if you don't say right away, "I don't want all these condiments" or whatever, you almost got to speak up. But in some cases, you can say, "Well, that person's supposed to ask you whatever." But I'm like a forgiver like that. I'm not like a big asshole about that. I mean, I like to walk around all smart when I was doing real well. And you want enough of capitalism. I want enough of fucking capitalism that I can walk around. Or if you're black watching it, you are black, and maybe people would treat you're right, and you can be employed in a type of a capitalist place where you're being paid good. And you can walk in a restaurant when you want to have gold chains or watches or gold watches or a leather, or you want to be like somebody like me in a leather or a motorcycle jacket. Walk around. People prejudice you because of the hair. Walk around. Yeah, I got. But yet, the thing behind that, what I'm trying to say, if you got this far, is the shit some of us have, even though we'll act happy and we're getting money, the fucking shit we got to put up with other people, and not want to knock somebody damn out and then lose your job and be homeless and in jail and all that, too. You know what I mean? That's it. That's it.